lot of great work. He landed that grenade to halt that push coming in from the entirety of Horror Esports, and that bought a little bit more time and space for the rest of A1 to work this one out. Segregated on multiple levels of the floor right now. It's going to be Sleepy that takes a little bit of a charge on the outskirts as he's waiting for some of all these steps. It's going to be Jingle that finds Rowdy, and Deathstorm is the next one to fall. A1 Esports, they just crumble as the rest of these members are slowly whittled down. It's all up to Sinister and Hitman right now.
Great kill from Jiggle. Nice teamwork and execution coming from Horror Esports. I mean, we almost thought that, it's not going to be possible for Horror Esports to kind of eliminate the rest of A1 since two of their players actually got shut down and they were crossing the road. But here we go. I think another team wants to join into the mix here. So let's see what's going to happen as Sinister is already backed in the corner here and being pursued by the boys of Horror. But this is the chance for Team Flash to kind of score some points as well from Horror Esports. Can they defend this building right here up against Team Flash?
We absolutely forgot that Team Flash have always dropped inside Yasnaya, and finally they make their way into the city, and just like that, they're dropping nades after nades up upon these members of Horror Esports, who's currently boxed in. Jiggle needs to go in for a little bit of a reset as well, so Silky has been able to pick him up, but Bose as well as Zeus, they're definitely on the push together with a new member along the side of Team Flash, and that's going to be Win. This is going to be the first time that we're seeing him in action, so I want to see what does he offer to the table. And I can't wait to see Team Flash versus 4MV because we will have two tops fighting against each other.
Okay, Sky no longer part of the equation here, so there's just 3 players for Horror Esports, but I feel like it's still doable. They're perfectly positioned right now. That is a great shot coming from Sleepy, but not enough damage just yet to take anyone down. So that is some kind of warning shot, coming from Horror Esports to take easy for the side of Team Flash. Do not be reckless at this point because one mistake can be costly at this point in the match.
Indeed, it will be as they're slowly navigating their way onto this push. It has been halted as they give a little room to respect towards Horror Esports, who still has 3 members with them. Gonna be a tough case to crack, and you saw immediately when Team Flash was charging right through, they have already thrown almost every single utilities that they have. So no more frag grenades. It's just gonna be a little bit of a standstill unless somebody has, the kind of right setup to be able to clear out. Bose does have a S12K, so if there's anybody out there, he should be the one leading the charge, and the blue zone is already here. And they gotta make their way onto the course of Georgia Pole, but they can't go just yet because none of them have vehicles, and leaving right now would be a threat coming from either side of the party who's gonna be waiting inside the building.
Yeah, this could also be detrimental for both of the teams here. I mean, since they don't have that much resources just yet, because it was like a battle right off the bat here, especially for Horror Esports. I mean, Team Flash, they've had a little time, to go through and pillage those buildings to get some maybe ammos and some attachments they need for the guns. But yeah, I mean, they need to settle the score as fast as they could because the blue is already there devouring them. But since this is all just, like stage 1, it's not that, it's not that bad just yet. But anyway, here comes the attack now coming from Team Flash, and 5 elimination points now for Horror Esports. That was an early elimination for both A1 and Team Flash, but the good thing is, okay, they're still alive. There's still a chance for them to get to the latter stages of the game, but they're down to their last player, so it could be difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it's still very possible. All they really have to do is cut over on the bridge or cut over on the Stalbert. Then there's a lot of empty room for them to enter maybe either severing or even shooting range. So they just really have to wrap up the fight. I'm just unsure as to why Team Flash overcommitted right there because we last saw they don't really have much of these resources and they were just waiting for them to move. And move, Horror did. It's just big advance.
Aku FIFA.
Aku ingin air yang lebih baik untukku.
Lahir dari alam, melewati 7 tahap nano purifikasi. Menghasilkan air yang semu.
Or should I even say alter ego to go in for those pickoff And as I do expect some of these teams to be going on trial, there is 666. I'm not too sure which member of Alter Ego that is, but they're doing a magnificent work.
I mean, so far it was a great start for Horror Esports. Again, during the Night of Champions, it wasn't really a very good run for them since they didn't go as far as 17th place. That is it. But today, perhaps it could they could tell another story here. I mean, it was amazing the fact that they were able to go through not just one team but two teams from that particular spot. And I guess all we need to wait, for Horror Esports is their consistency of playing the game could be hard to maintain, but again, they're all experienced players here. Coming off the kill feed, it's Alpha 7 versus LGB, and this is the Brazil versus China dynamic that we were talking about just a while ago. LGB getting slaughtered from that bridge. Right now, Rabo continues on with that massive spray, and he's been connecting, and it's so far so good for Alpha 7 Esports.
Yeah, Alpha 7, they started off really strong. They didn't really have to move too much. They were just looking around this region of North Georgia. They find themselves a couple of all these LGD members trying to actually cut across. And you can easily tell that after two members failed to make their way past, the other two members have stayed back over on the south side. So all they really have to do is to at least find a decent compound to work all together with. So Lynx is going to see if there's going to be maybe a little bit of a wiggle room for them to play around these corners, but instead of going deeper into the zone, the rest of the LGD are actually moving over onto the outskirts, perhaps expecting teams to be moving into the container section, so perhaps they could still look for some opening picks. Speaking of which, so far looking pretty clear, and just as a matter of fact, I believe Voin Donkey wasn't exactly enlisted in this group, which is why it was just their names being axed off the list. But of course, never mind that, as we are definitely going to be having those 16 teams on board still. Meanwhile, Circle goes further over on the north point, so that forces LGD to once again come over on the bridge, and this is still looking for Tenba, where they go on that late list. But of course, never mind that, as we are definitely going to be having those 16 teams on board still. Meanwhile, still looking for Tenba, where they go on that late rotation and now slowly getting choked up over on the Collision Bridge. Tenba was the one camping team on the south side of the islands, and this time they're the ones on the receiving end.
I got a little confused there because
Lalu gunakan strategi siap pakai untuk trading lebih cerdas. Pilih saja arah grafik dan buka transaksi.
this guy's name is Tops as well. Yeah, but we're looking at Team Flash right at this moment. It's a great defense so far by Tops here. Was able to get at least 2 players from Tiamba, I believe. We still got one more player knocked down on his knees, but Tom's already off.
Dan kalian pilih resolusi yang ini ya. Dan lalu kalian masukkan resolusi
Top already on the way there to get the job done. And if you guys saw the map feed just a while ago, it's a long journey for the side of Team Secret because they are going to come from the south part area of Erangel. I believe so. I do hope that it wouldn't be too crowded the moment that they step inside the safe zone, because that could be quite risky, for the side of Team Secret. Now, looking at Alter Ego, Ares, one of them is hurt really bad. He's still down on the ground, so I do wonder if he still can pick up by.
Safe zone, because that could be quite risky, for the side of Team Secret. Now, looking at Alter Ego, Ares, one of them is hurt really bad. He's still down on the ground, so I do wonder if he can pick up by.
Still can pick up by a teammate here, while Jal is having a little trouble as well, because a little bit low on. uh, I mean, having a little trouble as well because a little bit low on HP. But we're not seeing any altercations happen just yet or any confrontation for that matter. Although Horror Esports is pretty close with Four Miracle Vibes.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit of a tough stand-in as we look at Formidable Vibes. Should be looking for a deep setup, but nothing to be found so far, so it's still going to be a-okay for most of the gentlemen on board. Jiggle and the rest of our esports find themselves over onto the crash side, so they're just hoping that teams will be moving around this region as it's usually a very high traffic area. Well, shots. One HP, but he's still fending off the entirety of 7-9, and just like that, Alter Ego shuts out the Malaysian side.
Yeah, it was a three-way battle, so it's really hard to survive that kind of clash. I mean, it's Alter Ego Eris is out there in the open, while GLU Squad is holding on to a compound here. But just look at what kind of strategy Alter Ego Eris is doing right now. It seems to be working out for them. I mean, they can defend themselves, effectively. I mean, only goes to show how much experience these boys have already in the competitive scene. Now, looking at GLU Squad, they're still complete. Okay, so far so good. That will always be an advantage. But the exchange right now they're having with Alter Ego Eris, I mean, having said that, they do have that advantage. Alter Ego is just playing with three of their members. And I don't know what is happening because we've got one player from GLU who's pretty close with Alter Ego Eris, but yeah, I think they are exchanging nades at this point.
Yeah, Blue Squad so far has always been the team that love to go in for a hug. And they're looking for their brothers coming from Indonesia. While they do have that high ground, Davian has arrived on the scene as we see all the bucks into the little bit, and there's barely enough cover. BX goes for a drop shot, and it's just about enough for him to turn the tides around. 5 points in for side of Alter Ego, and Blue Squad may have actually regretted their decision.
It's a vulnerable spot. I mean, you don't have anything to cover yourselves with. I mean, it's a low ground, and D plus Kia knows how to take advantage of it, but unfortunately kind of backfire because now they just lost 3 of their members and Alter Ego Eris still survives.
And somehow they're just trading back and forth and just closing it in. Blue Squad goes on 11th spot, so I think it was pretty much a decent attempt. They think that the rest of all these members of Alter Ego was super vulnerable. Apparently not, because that bowl is just about enough. And meanwhile, on the other side, it's Squash Boo with a massive nade to take out the entirety of the squad we just seen on our screen. So great work so far for the rest of these members of Alpha 7.
Squash Boo doing some squash. Yeah, I mean, we did call it out just a while ago. I mean, it was a long travel coming from the south side, and then, they collided with Alpha 7, and now they're completely out of the game, or at least during the first match. Again, this is more like a warm-up, for the teams here, since match number 1 is usually getting acquainted with everyone that is participating in this lobby. But anyway, getting back into 4 Miracle Vibes, 1 point set out by Rifus over here. They have the chance to collide with Horror Esports, and there you go, Doc again, making some angles work on his side, was able to put down Sleepy from Horror, and now he has been taken out of the equation. And coming off the kill feed, it's LGD as well, racking up some points from ASIA.
So far, looking to be pretty clear for now, as many of these teams are over in North Point. A little bit of exchange going on as 4 Miracle Vibes will clash up against the members of Horror Esports. We're only left down to this final member, so Nofair's got to do everything possible to take on Doc. Both sides full HP, and here comes the push. Double tap on that S12K will settle the score for Esports. Still got themselves 7 points in return.
It's still okay. I mean, not an aggressive start, but it's good. I mean, the fact that they were able to put up 7 elimination points, I think it's fine, to start the matches. It's not always easy to score some elimination points, so um, it's okay. Anyway, I think we only have a number of teams left inside the game. We got RQ, Alpha 7, LGD. We also got ASI 8 here in 4 Miracle Vibes. Alter Ego, Aerosol, D plus Kia. Okay, the circle shifted again, and this time favoring, of course, RQ since they are already in the middle. But I'm kind of worried. Okay, this concerns me because I don't see any compounds, so I don't see any concrete walls that could potentially protect the teams or the players. So we'll probably see the fight happen in an open field.
Indeed, we are. So far, none of these members of Alter Ego is using their real name. I'm not too sure about that group, though. Now they're rocking up against the rest of Formidable Vibes, so it does have a little bit form of cover coming into the corners of the crash site, but that's barely enough room for them to work with. So for Miracle Vibes, they're definitely looking for a little bit of extension as they quickly push outwards to challenge that sole member of Alter Ego. He's pretty much spread too thin. I mean, where is the rest of these members of Alter Ego? They're slowly getting tagged, and he is making a run for it just to get himself a little bit more of a cover. But as the rest of the members of Formidable Vibes push on, they might actually spot him out, but thankfully there was RRQ just across the field to be able to hold Formidable Vibes back. So that buys a little bit more time for Mantra.
All I wanted to say is how phenomenal Alter Ego Ares was when they defended themselves not just up against one team, but two teams firing at them simultaneously. And the fact that they were able to put up 8 elimination points, and the situation was even against them. I mean, they were on the low ground. It was an open space, but effectively defended themselves. And now they are at the top of the charts. With the most number of points here, and we are already at stage 5 with 7 teams remaining, so we are close to wrapping up our match number 1. And since they still have 3 of their members, there's a big chance that they might even score the chicken dinner here.
Yeah, it's a little too soon to tell, but ASI 8, they still got 3 members to work with. They also got a hefty chunk of points to kick things off. Now that they're finally getting out of that tunnel, they can absolutely find a little bit of exchange in return, but we have 10 overlooking that corner of the bunker. For Miracle Vibes now secures that 5th pointer in their run. First, you put your predictions onto them. They do have a lot of arsenal of weapons for them to hold on for a chicken dinner as well.
It's hard to get stuck inside the bunker, right? I mean, it has so many choke points. I get too claustrophobic whenever I see someone or a team get inside. But anyway, not my problem. 6 teams remaining, ladies and gents. 4 Miracle Vibes with 6 elimination points as well. It's Refus and Dog's been doing all the job here at getting or bagging those kill points that they need for the team. We can see that Jal is trying to pick his moment here, trying to pick his angle as well. They're pretty spread out, if you ask me. But we got Top spotting 2 members inside that shack again. Oh, man! Nicely done by ASI8. I mean, we've got one player from 4 Miracle Vibes currently knocked down on the ground. Now make that 2, ladies and gents. Jal and Doc both on their knees.
That was perfect defense. I mean, that could be pretty devastating if the nade does actually pop inside the shack. Meanwhile, Carrillo trying to flush off the members of LGD. He has to do it all alone. The rest of the members are nowhere nearby. As you can see, they're pretty much at the corner map behind the spine of the hill, where currently RQ has the only compound available. That leaves everybody else standing out in the open. ASI getting caught up with Huzaifa over on the grass. Meanwhile, there was back and forth trades that will eventually see that former Miracle Vibes member on the ground. Lynx, he does have the bird's eye view up against Doc as well as Tops. This is going to be a little bit tough, but Tops is already giving help to the fallen member. And here comes Ted. He drops in the Molotov. It might just burn them up alive. And there's barely enough room, but somehow the member of ASI8 stays afloat. But this nade will be primed right in. There's barely enough room left for that member as he tries to run out, but not finding enough just about yet. 10, is he going to get it? He just cuts himself a little bit more cover because there's pressure coming from the hillside.
They knew the importance of not letting anyone get close to that shack. It was a perfect defense a while ago coming from ASI8. the way that they took down, former Club Vibes from that range was just, like wonderful. It's a chef's kiss. But unfortunately, though, LGD was able to get close through a molly, which took a massive hit onto Baby right there. So that was the end of the line for him. And a good charge, though, for LGD. But since we are already at stage 6 here with 4 teams remaining, they're down to their last player. A win or a WWCD could be hard to pull off, but of course, we're not discounting that fact to even happen. Alter Ego Eras with 10 elimination points is pretty strong, aggressive, just as expected coming from this boys. This is their way of actually saying hello to everyone. We are in the game.
That's right, and the also spot 10. Great sharp shots, but it's actually Carrillo that does find a number instead because he's running towards the direction of Carrillo, and he just secures it easily with that DBS. Point take away from the side of Alter Ego, so they will have to find alternative plans. RQ have not been activated just yet. The fight is right now between these two members, but take a look at MG from RQ. They're looking for a flank, and as they look to take on the entirety of Alter Ego.
Not looking too good for the side of Alter Ego Areas. They are in between RQ and Alpha 7, ladies and gents. And there you go. X666 has been knocked down on the ground. And that is a confirmation from RQ that they've already gotten the point. They've already gotten the job done. Nerpeiko cooking up a nade here while MG tries to find a spot here, trying to go off angle. They're applying a lot of pressure onto the side of Badger here of Alter Ego Areas. I mean, it's hard for him to get inside the zone or even maintain his position. Carrillo also trying to join into the mix here. He is driving his vehicle, but I don't think that he will be pushing through with the plan because he kind of stepped back now. And again, Alter Ego Ares, despite, having all the odds playing against him, even, from a while ago, still was able to put up 10 elimination points, which is, of course, not hard or not easy, rather, to pull off.
That's right. Now it's down to the Brazilian superstars versus the Kings of Kings. And the Kings are finally being pinned down. One member being knocked up over the course of the kill. Carrillo so far doing plenty of damage in this matchup, as he's definitely going to be getting a whole lot more intel coming into that corner map. So they understood that all that there is these players inside the shack as they slowly worded them down. They can take that time because RQ's got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, but they do have the compound here, and it will be difficult for Alpha 7, of course, to even get close. All they need to do, for the side of RQ, is just really be patient at this point and wait out for them, and play their cards right. At least I can say 60% they can bag the chicken dinner here.
Very high numbers, I would say, but of course, if they were not careful enough on navigating this fight, then it's the RQ that may actually walk away with it. That nade definitely comes pretty close towards Nepeko, but these long-range knobs aren't going to fool Nepeko as he dances it off, but I'm not too sure if he has any more med kits available because he's hanging around with 60%. There we go, just a couple of bandages or perhaps a couple of drinks for them to work with. But Alpha 7, they're just not leaving anything to chance. That is going to be the direct center of the zone where RQ is currently at. So no matter what, they have to form a push, but it has to be strategic.
Yes. It's going to be too much of a risk here if they decide to crash that compound, because again, they will have to go through an open space here. And what RQ needs to do at this point is just hold on to their spot and just really wait out for Alpha 7 next move in this situation. But utilities can actually run out. They've been throwing a lot of nades, and I feel like they're low on utilities right now, and RQ definitely will be having a grand time just in case Alpha 7 decides to actually push this now. But so far, so good for the side of RQ. Alpha 7 still having a hard time figuring out how they can flush them out.
Yeah, you can see that the Pekko is definitely holding an angle that is absolutely smart. Wherever they decide to crash in, and that first contact probably will be Carrillo that's going to be on the vehicle. Now they're not wasting any more time. They're going on that push. The smokes have been set up, so they will drive towards the corner wall. And there you go. The nades are being primed right in. Molotov just to deny a little bit more of that zone, and the fight will now commence. Carrillo goes on the flank. Meanwhile, Mafioso looking for a long-range opportunity as well. This is going to be a tight one. And they brought Suvel down to 20 HP. And they find it.
Okay, that is the opening. A7 it has been waiting for. We've got one of them knocked down on the ground, and that is, of course, how you play it. Alpha 7 coming in hot, doing what they do best, getting the WWCD at the first match.
What a way to kickstart our run here in the Invitational Showdown. So far, Alpha 7 are on that hot streak since the Night of Champions, as they've got themselves plenty of eliminations moving into this matchup. Kudos to them, and kudos to also some of the teams hailing from Indonesia. We've seen explosiveness coming in from Alter Ego, and also RRQ has been able to hold the line so well that they find themselves in the top two. So these are definitely some of the big winners of this match.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't too many options to begin with for the side of RQ. Really that was the best way I could ever think of, I could ever imagine that they could do. I mean, just really hold the line there, maintain their position, not move any muscle, and not give away or compromise their location to Alpha 7. And Alpha 7 did great, to be honest. I mean, they have been trying to flush them out, causing both of the players from RQ to get disoriented, with all of the nades coming through them. It kind of deafens your earphones, right? So you cannot hear whether the opponents are already inside the house. Somehow that's already a disadvantage for RQ. But then again, it was still a great effort to defend themselves, even if the odds are already against them, but a well-deserved win for the side of Alpha 7.
That's right, and there's only going to be more big news coming in from the South Americans, as Alpha 7 Esports so far has shown pure finesse in this matchup. And we've also seen a lot of all these PEL teams to also step up in this matchup, namely LGD, where they still have a very consistent run, and they do make our top 4 in the match. So other than that, ASIA, they were hiding inside the bunker, but little do we know, they've been taking players off the list one after another, and there was that instance where they were just playing through that shack, and they came really close up against all these big names out there, including For Miracle Vibes, as they do have secured themselves plenty more.
That could have been an insane play, though, for the side of Baby of ASI8. I mean, if he was able to pull off a clutch there, eliminating that player from LGD, that could have been a great clip of what a clutch looks like. But yeah, still a different LGD we're seeing right now for the Invitational Showdown. It's a very aggressive still, but a calculated risk for the PL teams. And just checking, head to head, we've got Lynx, okay, versus No Fear of Horror Esports. Elimination points obviously go to LGD. Damage output, though, 859. So that only goes to show that No Fear was able to shut down a lot of them players, but wasn't able to get the job done. That means he wasn't able to transition that into a kill point.
Yeah, if you recall, Horror Esports took on A1 Esports as well as Team Flash, so his damage definitely is significant because he's the one to take the lead when it comes down to all these fights out there. We saw maybe a little bit more of the passive side out of RRQ Ryu, where they're just holding through on that compound, and by the time that it seems like they were trying to get activated, they sent a member up the hillside to challenge Alter Ego, and both Alter Ego and RQ, they got clipped by Alpha 7. That forces RRQ to turtle in, which is why we're not really seeing those big numbers whatsoever coming from RRQ.
But the MVP of the match here, Badger, coming from Alter Ego Eras, 4 elimination points with 1,208 damage output. Oh man, this guy, for as long as he could, he tried to defend himself, but it was just like too much pressure, and it was an overwhelming experience for him since he was left all alone to deal with business. But then again, at the end of the match, he got the MVP title.
I just got a tinge of the spidey sense that this might just be Rosemary just by the output of damage out there. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong, and I'm still very much impressed on the output that Badru has overall in this game. I mean, particularly that's like 14 utilities in the span of how many battles were they in? Because they were just defending that corner bowl. And not only was it Badru, we also do have another member called BX 666. So I have no clue. I mean, these guys from Indonesia, they're always funky with their names, man. But we got Baby and Lings to be the top performers on the block as well.
Okay, so that confirms it. Since I saw the picture, Baby O from ASI 8 is none other than Crypto himself. So it's gonna be interesting because Four Thrives is also playing, and I would love to see a clash between these two amazing teams.
Yeah, I definitely want to take a good hard look into, the shift of the next map. If we're going to be sticking to A versus B again, then it definitely will be pretty interesting of how Miramar goes. And speaking of which, we'll take a short break, and when we do come back, we'll bring you match 2 here in the Ruthless Invitational Showdown.
Yo, welcome back to the Ruthless Invitational Showdown, ladies and gents. My name is Red Queen, together with Contra, and you also. What an electrifying match that we've had in Irangel. Of course, it was an incredible gameplay coming from all the teams, but we can only have one winner.
That's right. And speaking of which, it was Alpha 7 that find their winning ways heading into the very first match of the day, and perhaps even more to go because we still got 5 more matches for tonight, and we're moving into Miramar for our next hurdle.
Alter Ego Ares also delivered a standout performance with, of course, bold plays, racking up a total of 10 elimination points before making their exit. A true, of course, a testament which you can already see on the screens right, or in your screen right now. Oh yeah, here we go. Alpha 7 and there's Alter Ego Ares, and then coming in at 3rd place, it was ASI8 Esports.
That's right. A really strong start coming out of not only Alpha 7, but also Alter Ego Ares, as they did manage to secure the most elimination points. And of course, with Crypto and the ASI roster, you always expect him to be very, very explosive. And that said, I'm definitely looking at the rest of the pack, how they're holding up. We definitely see a decent exchange coming from most of these teams. Even if they don't really get too much going on, it has still been a decent one where a majority of all these players still has secured themselves at least a single point, maybe at least an outlier out there with 0 points, but we're not too concerned because that was just maybe a little bit warm up. Now moving into Miramar, we're just gonna get even rowdier from here on.
Yeah, it was a tough start for A1 Era Esports. You know, they've had an early clash with Ahura, and they've sent them packing and cutting their impact short this match. But anyway, we've got, of course, match 2 coming in, and it's going to be groups A and C this time. And the newcomers would be BTR, 4 Thrives, D Savior, Vampire, JDG, Thunder Talk, Edis Red Force, and Void Donkey.
That's right, and this is definitely going to be pretty interesting now that we're bringing back NS Red Force on board as well. Now, I'm definitely looking at 4 Tribes because they've been in a fire form, so I definitely think that they're hoping to get themselves back towards the top now that they've seen what really went on in the very first matchup. So I'm pretty sure that they would be having a rough idea on where these spots will be available or otherwise.
Okay, but again, we do have to make this prediction. So how about production goes first? Because I still have to check my list.
Okay, easy for me. I'm going for T because
4
they've been,
Tribes.
looking
Not a bad
really,
thing.
really great.
Vampire Esports. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with and it's Red Force.
Okay, good call out there. If it wasn't for Tribes, I definitely are looking at Void Donkey to see how they're going to be able to hold up against everybody else. Because out of all the teams from Indonesia, I think Void Donkey has some of the most solid strategy moving into the majority of all these maps. So I'm keeping my eyes on them if it's going to be whether if they will be able to score a big game or not. And moving to Miramar, it is always going to be a little tough. So I am just hoping that we're going to be able to at least have a decent exchange for majority of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, match number 2, it hasn't started just yet, but I just know it's going to shape up to be an exciting clash between Group A and Group C on Miramar. It's a vast desert, of course, and long-range engagements will definitely be happening at the first few zones in the map. There's also the fact that, you know, with teams like Alpha 7 Esports and Bigatron in the mix, I do expect bold plays and top-tier positioning battles. And also, you need to watch out for D Savior, because D Savior, when it comes to Miramar, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, and of course, everybody could not get over the fact that they just took out, like, what, 3 squads when they only have, like, what, 2 players left? That was absolutely incredible. Not many teams have been able to have that level of tenacity as Levi's or Parisian do, and overall that has been super duper impressive. So I'm hoping that they will do exactly the same moving into this mirror matchup if they're on board. So we'll definitely have to see if they will be able to do just that. But we're looking at these Barren Desert to, of course, offer not only a lot of all these big teams on those fights, but at the very same time, is there going to be certain areas that's going to be highly contested? Because over on the Nine of Champions, we see a lot of battles taking place in Picado. There were also challengers moving into some regions of Hacienda, some regions over on the Los Leones, and most of the time, they do start off with a fight.
Oh yeah. I expect Los Leones to be crowded. Picado is always a great spot, for clashes, and I think it is what will separate, those teams who are passive and aggressive, because mostly passive will go off chart, like they're really go away from the fight path, but those who prioritize getting the best resources, of course you have to drop into the prominent cities that we have in Miramar, definitely they will be coming for that. But the rules to follow when you want to survive in a battle royale. Of course, if you want something, you just have to fight for it. So that's again one of the things that we should look out for.
Yeah, overall, definitely there's plenty of fights that we can expect moving into the territories of Vampire Esports, because there were names such as, I'm not too sure if it's Weibo or one of the teams from PL that always goes in to challenge them, and there are sometimes outliers to moving into the stadium grounds as well. So it can be pretty tense where even 3 teams will be on board. So the last time, of course, D Savior dropped into El Pozo, they were also met with Enigma Galaxy. Enigma Galaxy, I'm wondering if they're going to be on board as well heading into the matches for this evening.
Yeah, you shouldn't count out Vampire Esports. I agree with you. I mean, their aggressive style might just, shake things up in the open landscape. I mean, it's all about, who can handle the unpredictable shifts, of Miramar zones while keeping their cool under pressure, so to speak. So let's see who takes control of the desert and comes out on top. And also, ladies and gents, we are interested and we are dying to know which of these teams you are going to pick for match number 2. We'd also love to know about your predictions. So make a lot of noise down there in the comment section, because in just a few moments, match number 2 will begin.
That's right. We saw a lot of these teams were really putting up such a massive run, especially for Alpha 7. Will they go on a streak as Group A is still on board? It's time to find out as the clock is ticking, and we can't wait to start off our first Miramar of the day.
All right, here we go. We're already inside the plane, and we'll definitely see teams open up their chutes to head on towards their favorite drop spots. And of course, the moment they land on their feet and they get their hands on the ammunitions and the guns, we'll be starting the fight real good.
That's right, as this flight path will kick off by the quarter prison where they usually spawn, and it will end up just by the quarter Satori Ahumada as well as the Oasis. So plenty of areas to play out. So looking at most of the region of Chimacera, which will be a direct drop for Microbots, whether if there's going to be any form of contest, we're looking at Going Donkey already hopping off of the plane path. Meanwhile, 4 tribes are slowly folding on the corner of Monte Nivo. If they were to dock there, that's going to be great. If they extend to El Pozo, we might actually see some battles taking place, because A7 is going to be moving into that quarter instead. While I expect Vampire Esports to be directly over center, BTR have always remained in Power Grid ever since this team has established, and they're not budging from that point onwards.
Yes, and as we can see the flight path here, we are trying to check, okay, which of the areas are going to be highly populated. And the circle just went up north, ladies and gents, northeast. That is. Okay, and we can see Weibo Gaming again, just like what my co-caster said. They're probably headed towards Toria Hamada. And D plus Key amazingly just went down south together with LGD Gaming, and Alpha 7 has taken control of El Palzo here, but perhaps we can see a fight between D Savior and Alpha 7 Esports. But you know what? Team Secret is having an altercation as well somewhere onto the southwest side of the zone.
Yeah, speaking of which, this is just by the corners of San Martin as they take that urban setting as their playground. Jiki already got that M4 in hand, but the rest of the Red Force members are charging right through. What a jump shot coming from Tizzy as he secures that knock. Quickly secured. Well, we have Alpha 7 locking down that member of the Savior. And we've seen this happen up against Nigma Galaxy before. Are they sure they really won that full challenge just yet? When Mafioso is being zoned out by the Molotov, it will definitely take a while as we're looking at barely enough resources. And here comes Trang on the off angle as he parkours his ways on the outskirts. But there's 3 members that he needs to settle scores with.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of parkour in this situation. I mean, he was able to inflict damage to Ennis Red Force, but none of the boys of Ennis Red Force has been knocked down just yet. So there's plenty of chance for them to hunt this player and probably retaliate over him. Now, we've seen D Savior defend this building countless times, but Alpha 7 seems to be doing a good job so far, putting down one of their players, and that would be Natty T, which brings us not just 3 players for the side of D Savior, and this could be a little tricky for D Savior to win the fight up against Alpha 7, but of course they can always flip the script depending on how good the execution will be. But over to the side of Team Secret here versus Ennis Red Force, Team Secret is on the lower floors of this building right here. But if you know the tricks that you can pull off when inside the buildings of Miramar, then you can easily eliminate your opponent. But then again, it takes precision, it takes timing, and it takes great communication between the players and between the team.
Absolutely, and overall, it has been a little bit tricky. We did see that Team Secret did have a member carrying an M249.
Oh,
And that weapon is going to be absolutely devastating for Nongshim Red Force to deal against, even if they do have shotguns or so. Now, we'll definitely have to wait and see if there's going to be any sort of further commitment from the looks of it. Not quite yet, but we know they definitely do want to commit with this one. Nongshim, they're feeling very confident because they do have these 3 members to be working around this big sector of the office building. So it is just going to be a long gridlock for now. It's really down to what Trang as well as Frankie could actually set up this time around. This being Team Secret's very first game here over the course of the weekend, I think they're just trying to, of course, ease their way out of this matchup. So we'll see if they'll be able to at least start out on the good note, where they've already lost 1 member. So other than that, it's just decent news. Not really the best, but not the worst case scenario.
yeah, for now, you don't want to make any rush decision, right? I mean, Team Secret already lost one of their members, so again, they don't want to be reckless at this point. Going up against Ennis Red Force, who is a great competitor as well. I mean, they recently won the PMPS, so you just know the caliber of this players right here. And Team Secret knows exactly that, and they're being very cautious at this point. They don't want to make any mistakes. But yeah, this is currently a standoff that's been happening between these 2 teams. But we do have one player from Team Secret who is a little bit off angle here, probably the one just getting all the information if they're going up, they're going down, probably listening to the footsteps and just waiting for any of the players from NS Red Force to go out or come out from hiding, and that's exactly where he's going to shoot. But 4 drives. Okay, 1 elimination point.
Yeah, they managed to just wrap around after looting Montenevo, and just by the outskirts, caught 1 member out of Alpha 7. That definitely takes a lot of navigating around the fields, or scouting, I would say, just to get that pickoff. Meanwhile, Tony K also getting a number done up against the members of JDG.
Oh, we've got an opening. We have got an opening. Team Secret was able to throw an effective nade up against NS Red Force, so perhaps that would pave the way for them to get inside the building and do the job. But in the meantime, let's check out Vampire Esports as they butcher the players of JDG. And there you go, just like that. We didn't see it happen, but yeah, NS Red Force already out of the game here, courtesy of Team Secret. And while Vampire Esports is still collecting their points as well, oh man, everyone is just having a good time
There's
here.
still one
But
player.
there's one more.
He's just limping around. I mean, this will definitely be secured, but where exactly is that final member? It's nowhere to be seen thus far. And that is definitely going to be a little bit more concerning for the moment. While it is, I can only read that first letter in Chinese. That's Xiao, small, and Z. Pretty much it. But I'm
Z.
hopeless when it comes down to Chinese. I know. Don't at me where I definitely disappointed my grandparents for that. But overall, the fight commences as also looks for a pickoff up against LGD.
Whew, man, if you're left with one player in the team, you just have to focus on longevity and probably pick a spot where none of the players or none of the teams would suspect you to be at, and probably just pop up again during the last few zones of the game. But anyway, LGD just suffered a casualty. I mean, we've got one out, taken out of the equation here, which is, of course, can be a little tricky to pull off a WWCD, because we still got a lot of teams with a complete set of players. From the kill feed, it's Alter Ego Eras again collecting some points. Was able to put down one from Thunder Talk Gaming, but since that we do have that great distance between these two teams, so perhaps we can add that to just damage output from the side of Alter Ego Eras, because I don't think Alter Ego Eras will be leaving this compound just yet.
Yeah, this place looks too oddly familiar. This is a deja vu moment, just like back on the final night of Champions round. It's the second Miramar that was played off that is around this vicinity, so whoever books Hacienda is going to have a real good time. Here comes the rival Alter Ego as they strike down two members of Thunder Talk. They're pretty much exposed. The entirety of the squad, they're just out there in the open, and just like that, BX, she will take three members down.
Alter Ego Eras came in looking to pop some heads, and the first victim that fell to their hands inside Miramar are those boys, the opposition of Thunder Talk Gaming. Now, I think they're down to how many players? One more? Okay, one more player, ladies and gents, and that's how aggressive Alter Ego Eras can be. And I've always talked about this during the past tournaments, that Alter Ego Eras, I believe Miramar is also, like their strongest map. They just know how to maneuver, they know how to move inside this game, and it's just amazing how they can pull off sometimes ridiculous angle, especially coming from Rosemary. That is why he's very popular. He have already established his name as also one of the greats when it comes to PUBG Mobile, and I do expect a lot more of that action coming from Alter Ego Eras. In the meantime, Weibo, again, this isn't like a great start for them. I mean, one of them is currently knocked down on the ground, but this is more of a civil war up against JD. But then again, JD, they have the advantage since they do have that compound. They do have that wall to protect them from any of the bullets that would be coming from any direction. So it's best. I feel like Weibo should just back away for now and just, I don't know, like maybe recalibrate and reset and probably think of what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we take a look at that zone, it definitely looks like there's barely enough of all these compounds for them to work with that is going to be unoccupied at this current standpoint, which is why you're looking at teams just swarming around, and it's not really doing any favors for everybody out there as the rest of Team Secret looks for a little bit of a bowl, and this kind of a water silo is just going to be the only form of refuge for the moment, and they're not feeling super confident about this current standpoint. Therefore, they are going to take their sweet time to see if they could just navigate out of there and just perhaps hold some areas around Hacienda de Patron. Meanwhile, Twitter commitment come from Badru as they are taking this fight on the blue zone by the corners of Truck Stop up against the Plus Kia.
If you see an opportunity again, you just have to grab it. And the fact that this game is fast paced, you just have to move, move, and move. But we can see, okay, D plus Kia here with a mini 14 and just tapping away. Probably was able to inflict pain again, but I'm not sure if we've gotten any information if it was able to pick any of the players from that range. But anyway, back to Alter Ego Ares here. Badru already out of the game, but X666 here was, managed to put or bag 3 elimination points for himself, and the fight continues on for Alter Ego Ares.
Yeah, just so far clean takes coming from the side of BX as they spot out the inventory of Tuck, and then after that, as much as they really want to further commit, the zone is just going further and further away, which is why we're looking at them for prioritizing the area of play. Boing Donkey, a team that I'm excited to watch, are currently tagging up against the members of Team Secret. Last we saw, it wasn't exactly the easiest of spots for Team Secret to play out. They finally found a place to call home, but there's that. It isn't exactly the safest area to play out. But at the very same time, we're just looking at majority of these teams going for those long-range exchanges. I really do appreciate the members of BTR as we got the entire roster playing the real deal right now. We got Federalis on board. We got Razy and many more of these names up there on our screens.
So this is going to be exciting. During the Night of Champions, I feel like the Academy players were the ones taking control of the game, but this time Federalis is in the mix and the rest of the stars of Bigatron Red villains. So let's see if they can make something happen for BTR. Getting back into Weibo here, again, they've managed to put 1 elimination point. Just a while ago, they tried to challenge up the boys of JD, but backed away because it wasn't really the best to do right now. It was too early for a fight, so it's logical that they kind of stepped away from that one. Tony K, however, is cooking up a nade here, challenging them up. So, could be bad for Weibo.
But there's only 3 players left for the side of Vampire Esports, so it definitely looks pretty tough because that nade lands perfectly on top of SY. And over on the other corner, there is going to be D-Saber to also answer back. The rest of Rainbow Gaming is actually within the other side of the compound, so I don't think anyone's extending out for the rescue. Meanwhile, Venturis takes down Levi's on this 3-way warfare.
All right, 3, it's not a problem if they're not even complete. So that says a lot with the gameplay we're seeing coming from Vampire Esports. Tony Case not stopping at all, throwing up a lot of nades up against Weibo. But you know what? I feel like these saviors interested to join into the mix here, so that can be interesting as well. Horror Esports, we can see No Fear is close as well within proximity. So, this could be a party that we didn't expect. But anyway, a lot of nades still being thrown, trying to flush Weibo Gaming out. How well are they going to be defending themselves up against a D-Savior at this point or in this particular situation? We've got JZX back to the corner here and just waiting for them to actually get inside, get close to him, and let's see if he's any good when it comes to a CQC fight.
We can definitely tell that this compound is going to be a prime location, which is why they're opting to actually take them out. The nade falls pretty closely, just about enough to supplement, as Parajin is the one that shuts down RC. Quick maneuvers once more coming in from the Vietnamese side. We now also have Woon to be joining the rest of D-Saber on this push as well. Woon, he's looking for pretty much a quick takedown, and just like that, Weibo Gaming is deleted.
But Vampire Esports been monitoring the situation, and now they're getting to let D-Savior have a taste of their own